wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
This better not awaken anything in me.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
I'm responsible for my own happiness. I can't even be responsible for my own breakfast.
We have Santa Claus. Assemble.
Welcome to another episode of Nerd It Here Weekly. I'm Riley Trahan. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Deepak Chitnis.
One podcast after another.
And Jackson Trahan.
Hello.
We have done our full One Battle After Another episode. It is up now. You can check it out. Deepak and I did a two-parter. We spent 1 hour talking about Paul Thomas Anderson's prior films, and then we did another episode just reviewing One Battle After Another. But since then, Jack, you've seen it. Do you want to give some light weigh-in thoughts here real quick? It's certainly the movie of the weekend, won the box office. We'll talk about the numbers.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time considering the length. I enjoyed Leo in this old stoner man role. I thought he was pretty funny. I had a good time.
Glad to hear it. Yeah, I definitely thought it was, I don't know if I would say, I think I actually did say that it was like a fun movie when we were talking about it. And then I think I sort of tried to backpedal that. But I do think it's like surprising how like 4-quadrant enjoyable it generally seems to be. Deepak, we were in our review already talking about it, but it made a surprising amount of money. It's up to $60 million now worldwide on this Wednesday evening as we record this episode of our show. Certainly, I think it's kind of surprising that it's doing so well. A Paul Thomas Anderson Oscar player just sort of finding a wide box office is a certain level of surprising.
Yeah, and I think in this sort of era when box office is an obsession even more so than it typically is, you would think that $110 to $140 million, depending on where you read the number, a budget like that, if you're only opening to 23 to 25 domestic, you're not going to be doing great. But I think we knew from the jump that this was going to be dependent on word of mouth and the awards potential to give it some legs and continue through playing consistently in the next 3, 4, 5 months as we head into February, where it looks like this has become an early front runner for some of the major awards.
And that'll be what I'm curious about in terms of how things sort of balance with this movie, right? It certainly has the potential for an awards season push. It also seems like it's going to have a bigger box office than we would expect from a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Whether or not it ends up being massively profitable, we'll see. Its chances at that are a little bit weighed down by a larger than average budget for that type of a movie. But, I think it's on its way now, so that seems good. Jackson, I spent free time over the weekend playing Silent Hill F. Is that the video game of the moment right now, or is everybody else playing something else right now that I'm unaware of?
Oh, well, I mean, personally, I spent a lot of my time playing Hades 2, which I was very excited about the release of. I played that game back when it came out in early access, which was, like a year ago now. And then it just came out, on the 25th of September, so still less than a week ago. It's still pretty new, I would say. But Silent Hill F is also very exciting. I'm glad to see. I don't think they're billing it as a mainline entry in the series, but
no.
I'm glad to see the series back, and I'm excited to see where else they go with it.
Yep, and so this one's been fun for me. I certainly have not made much of a dent in it so far, but I'll keep you posted, and I am enjoying it. It's good puzzle stuff. It's got interesting mythology. Oh yeah, it spooks left, right, and center. I will say I am not very far in, and so far I have died enough times that it has suggested I turn the difficulty down. So we might be taking that path soon. We'll see.
There's also tomorrow. There's a Ghost of Yeti, and then Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 for the Switch.
Deepak, are you at all in? I have seen the Mario Galaxy stuff bumping around. Is that as an Odyssey scholar, is the Mario Galaxy re-release something that you might be checking out?
I'm open-minded to checking it out. I've never played Galaxy on its initial release, and I wasn't aware of a re-release happening. Galaxy, to me, is still the sequel to the movie, which I am looking forward to.
Well, this will be a good way for you to brush up for the film.
Yeah, I have to do my research for these Mario movies now. You know?
I mean, that's true.
Have to learn the combo. Well, there actually is a new character you'll have to meet for this one. So
I have
Yeah,
not
it's
touched
like a
my
whole
Switch.
story and everything.
Have not touched my Switch in 2 months at least. I had just gotten the.
I can't
Hogwarts
imagine
game.
what's going on in your life that would keep you from playing handheld video games in all your free time. But you know,
No,
Yeah,
he doesn't have
it's-
anything going on. He's just lazy.
to each his own.
I was surprised he wasn't like, oh, Galaxy. That reminds me of Worlds, which reminds me of Open.
Probably
No.
shouldn't play it. Doesn't sound like my kind of thing.
No, I don't go out of my way to engage with that nonsense.
Mhm.
Well, while we are here, should we also mention that last week, sort of rounding out the buzzy news of the week, we also got the release of the trailer for the newest Star Wars movie called The Mandalorian and Grogu, which means it's time for another episode of Deepak Star Wars Corner. Buddy, how you feeling about the return of Star Wars to the big screen?
I'm surprised they're doing it. I don't know. To me, it continues the, for lack of a better word, problem of making Star Wars feel small and less special. And I hate to sound like old man shouting at clouds. That's not what I'm not trying to be that. What I mean in the sense of Star Wars was a cinematic thing, a cinematic event where the movies would come out every 3 years. There would be a build-up, anticipation to it. You dilute that with, forget Rogue One and Solo as spin-offs, because I think they're proving
The
to be
ship has
exceptions,
sailed.
not norms. Right, so whatever that is. But by the Disney Plus product and the flooding of, Mandalorian seasons, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Acolyte, all of which for reasons that are really not necessarily Disney's fault. Again, I blame the fans primarily. They were divisive across the board, to say the least. But you've hit on something with Mandalorian, even if the shine of the first season or two has worn off to a significant extent. If you're going to go back for what is presumably, one last ride, and I know there was some talk about this tying in with Thrawn and Ahsoka and some of the other shows, Boba Fett, whatever, it still feels like it's the Simpsons movie. It feels like we're taking the TV show and doing it on the big screen, which is less of a cinematic Star Wars experience than if we were just getting episode 10.
I think that is the big sort of snag that I see with this too, right? I watched the trailer for this, which I
have not seen the trailer, but I did think the poster was cool. I'll give them that.
So the trailer has the vibes of the poster, right? It's clearly going for like Buck Rogers vibes. I don't know if I'm in on that as an aesthetic for the advertising campaign of this movie. I definitely don't think
who is that appealing to?
Right.
Yeah.
Because children aren't going to recognize Buck Rogers as an aesthetic, and adults don't need to be sold on the notion of fun Star Wars adventure, right? So, and the trailer is sort of similarly focused, and it seems like it's just pulling from a couple of moments. So to your point about like how does this movie tie into larger Star Wars stuff, I think that's a time will tell question. We will. I think, while we're here, we'll probably talk more Star Wars stuff here in a second. And that seems to be unfolding plans and tendrils. I don't know if Mandalorian and Grogu is just supposed to like bring us enthusiastically back to the movies and Star Wars. Like it's kind of cashing in the goodwill of Mandalorian to do that. And just sort of break that seal and finally get cinematic Star Wars going again. Maybe that's what Disney sees as the appeal. But for me, I certainly do sort of have Deepak, the phenomenon that you're describing, which is like, oh, this is a TV show finally getting its chance to be a movie, which I feel like is not what the Star Wars brand wants to be about right now. But I don't know, Jack, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, I mean, it is. The brand is in a weird place. We've talked a lot about how terrified they are to make a new movie and to have to deal with the cultural backlash of the very cool and normal people who watch these films. I think personally it has been demonstrated to me that some of the things I am looking for out of a Star Wars movie are maybe not in the popular opinion. But I do I've liked a few of the shows that they've made more than Disney seems to have liked. I think Mandalorian and Grogu's a fine one, if a little weird to put onto a screen, but I get the idea of having characters that work. And again, you want to make something that is going to make you back the money you spend on it. So if it means that they're get back into making theatrical Star Wars content, I'll accept it. But it's probably not my most anticipated film of the year.
I did think it was also interesting and funny to note that they dropped this trailer in the middle of the Jimmy Kimmel drama. But in addition,
Wow.
we have other Star Wars business to tend to, other cinematic Star Wars coming soon. We got our first look. Deepak, is this correct? What's it called here? Star Wars Starfighter now? I actually have not been keeping up with this one as much as you guys have. So might need to be read in here a little bit.
Yeah, this is the one that's directed by Sean Levy, who's coming off of Deadpool and Wolverine. It stars Ryan Gosling. We found out recently it also will co-star Amy Adams, Aaron Pierre, some other actors whose names are escaping me right now. But Ryan Gosling's major co-star in the movie, I believe, is a newcomer who is a young boy. The movie.
I believe we have Matt Smith and Mia Goth are the names that I most recognize.
There you go. Those are two big ones. The story we found out is rumored to center around Gosling being the kid's uncle. He is his mother is Amy Adams, who is a Jedi or a Force-sensitive person of some kind. There are one or two bad guys that are chasing after this kid for reasons.
Quite possibly Matt Smith and Mia Goth.
Right. They seem the type. As yet unknown. Mia Goth, that's right. She is playing the role that was reportedly initially offered to Mikey Madison. Coming off of
yeah, that's right. Off of Nora.
Yeah. And Ryan Gosling is recruited by Amy Adams to protect the kid by keeping him away from the bad guys. So it sounds like some sort of chase movie, Fury Road in space, something like that. We know it's set
some sort of Mandalorian and Grogu type thing, but in the Star Wars universe.
Right. In the Star Wars universe this time. Yeah.
With
this
Star
one is
Wars
set
in the
after,
title, no less.
So this one is set after Episode 9, I believe.
Right, which has led to this new scuttlebutt that Daisy Ridley is going to make an appearance.
Well, that was another thing, is that the Daisy Ridley, Charmin Obey Chinoy movie that's been in the works, for 2 years now, and Stephen Knight leaving the project, I think was the last thing we heard, maybe 6 months ago, as a writer. There's a rumor that that's now being repositioned as a sequel to Starfighter, and then that will then be followed further by a third movie, which
by
we'll
a
call
third
this.
movie in a trilogy.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to go as far as calling this episode 10. I don't think they want to put that kind of.
It sure hasn't happened yet.
Which I think is interesting because that was my big thing when we sort of had finished out the episodic stuff and they were talking about what comes next, and they seemed so hesitant to put anything new into theaters. Like they really weren't moving on the theatrical side of stuff all that much. I really felt like, oh, maybe they are just not gonna do an episode 10. Like regardless of anything, maybe that's just too hot a thing. So even if you can do more Rey stories, or even if you can do more Kylo stories or whatever else, does he die?
I'd be fine with that.
He dies, but it's just, well, who cares?
Not
Somehow,
calling it
whatever.
Yeah, I feel like not calling it 10 was the easy out at the time, and that might just have like fomented now to a point.
Well, they've also, and I don't know how much the executives really think about this stuff, but they did sort of say that Episode 9 was supposed to be the end of the Skywalker trilogy. If you call something Episode 10 now, you're reopening.
Which is the most redeeming part of it, because I do think that needing to like think of the whole thing as a concrete story, I don't know. I want them to get away from a lot of the Skywalker stuff. So I think that's a perfectly fine way of signifying that.
And maybe that's the new convention going forward, is that they're just going to be called Star Wars : something.
Right.
And they're not going to do episode numbers, and they're not going to call it a Star Wars story. They're just going to call it Star Wars Starfighter, Star Wars Across the Stars, Star Wars whatever.
Yeah, at least for a while, I think that's a totally fine convention.
Star Wars War in the Stars.
And I agree with you, Jack, that it doesn't need to come back to the Skywalker story. So if we could get away from that for a little while, I think that would be best for this brand.
Well, at this point, I don't know how you... I mean, I guess the last Skywalker...
Haven't you heard what Daisy Ridley's last name? Rey Skywalker. Like, obviously, we have to...
Mangold is supposedly still working on his movie, which is supposed to be about like the deep lore past of the Jedi and Sith, like the first Jedi and Sith or something. So they are definitely, I think, pivoting away from Skywalker, but... Yeah, again, how do you do that when you're bringing Rey back? I don't know.
It's so interesting, right? Like Acolyte was supposed to be that old stuff, and they canceled that. The Knights of the Old Republic games are the only thing from extended universe canon that they still have maintained is in continuity.
Is Knights of the Old Republic still?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
It's like one of the only things that is. Like those video games, most of those video games are not, aside from Knights of the Old Republic. The novels, for the most part, are not. The comics absolutely got thrown out immediately,
Definitely.
right?
The Dark
It
Horse
was
stuff
all
is gone. Yeah.
It was all ranked by tier of like how easy Disney felt they could reproduce it. So like they know they're bad at making good video games, so the good video games they kept. But like we can shit out comic books. That's not even hard. So that stuff all got the yoink. Speaking,
No, I feel like the way to do a dramatic Daisy Ridley reveal, or you're right, Rey Skywalker reveal in this movie is the yellow lightsaber.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's so tied to Episode 9 now that I wonder if and how
They can
will
always.
do
They're
it.
going to want to give her a new lightsaber so they can sell new toys.
Yeah, it's always a new action figure. It's
that's
always a new box set. It's always a new whatever. But Jack, speaking of really high quality video games, you had to come get your man Kojima off the stage. You couldn't stop with these announcements this weekend.
Yeah, so Kojima Productions had what did they call it? Beyond the Strand. What a weirdo.
Yeah.
So this
what an
was their
absolute
10th anniversary celebration of their production company being made, aka Kojima getting kicked out of Konami, which happened right after the last Metal Gear game, Metal Gear Solid 5, and its weird two-parting nonsense. So 10 years later, they have made 2 video games, and they're gonna celebrate it. So we got a ton of new announcements from Kojima Productions and all sorts of pies that their thumbs are in. I'll go from least to most crazy. I think that's good, and you can cut me off when I'm out of time. So I guess the most obvious one that was already announced was the Death Stranding movie, which we knew was coming. They did announce that it's
Mosquito?
A24. No, that's the anime.
Oh.
That's next.
Pardon me. Sorry, I don't mean to get out ahead of you on this one.
No, the A24 movie is going to be a live action piece, I believe. I mean, obviously there will be all sorts of weird CGI elements in that he'll have a say in, but it's very exciting for Kojima to finally get to make his movie. Everybody always jokes that he wants to make movies, and now he has Sony, who have real money, and he has A24, who make movies that everybody likes right now.
It's got the guy that directed Pig and A Quiet Place Day 1,
Mm-hmm.
who apparently
So that'll
first
be
has to do a
exciting.
Robin Hood movie before he can do this, but that's fine. I'm sure there's a ton of pre-production on Death Stranding, the movie.
Yes, no doubt.
Stars
You
Hugh
are right,
Jackman
we also-
as Robin Hood. Sorry, can't get distracted.
This is the Disney Robin Hood?
No, this is an A24 distributed, coming out. It shot earlier this year. We'll circle back to Robin Hood, I'm sure, eventually.
Was not aware of this. Yeah.
Me either.
Jesus, I'm sorry. I'm reading this like press release. It's just so weird.
That's
Anyway.
fine. I can tell you more about this Robin Hood movie.
No. I'm back. You're right, Riley. They also announced Death Stranding Mosquito, which is the working title for an animated project in the Death Stranding series that is about this dude with a weird parasite on his face that sort of works like a mosquito proboscis.
Yes, and that's
Once
sort of the
again-
big art that they put out.
Mm-hmm. There's a trailer out for it. It's pretty short. It's mostly like a sort of, I think, showing off stylistically what it will look like. And it is 3D animated, but sort of designed to look very sketchy in 2D. It looks good. Again, I have no doubt that he'll put the weird, insane amount of detail that he puts into everything he makes into this. If it can keep the quality of animation up, I'll be very excited about it.
Absolutely.
The things I'm more excited for, and
Yeah,
that I,
I
think
want
you're
to talk
more
about the
excited
weird
for,
shit.
Riley,
Yeah.
were some of the games. So I think the expected game was Physint, Physynt, which is a stealth espionage action game, which is a always the specific phrasing he would use to describe Metal Gear. So this is basically a new Metal Gear game. Obviously, it can't use any of the characters or the IP because those still belong to Konami. But it was, I think, an open secret that Sony let him make Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2 in exchange for forcing him to make a new Metal Gear game exclusive to PlayStation. And here it is. So that's pretty exciting. I'm definitely going to be there. I really like all of the Metal Gear games. I'm curious how many sort of supernatural elements will make their way into this one, because that is one of the parts of Metal Gear I really like.
Yep. And this art I just shared in our Discord is it doesn't scream not another Metal Gear game, right?
No, not at all. I don't think he's trying to be very secretive about it. I do like that our protagonist's face is all covered in shadow.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Right.
I can't wait for some real actor to
be cast later, like what they did with Norman Osborn in the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yes, exactly.
I also like the tagline, "Here comes the feeling."
Yeah, that's sure. Here it comes.
Here it comes. That old.
That's one of the more normal taglines that we're going to be getting.
That old Metal Gear feeling. Here it comes, baby.
But the one that you were texting all about, Riley,
yes.
was a new Xbox exclusive game called OD, or maybe called OD Knock, or maybe the series is called OD and this game is called OD Knock.
Impossible to say for sure. He will not be taking questions on it.
It appears to be a first-person psychological horror walk-around game, not unlike PT, which was the famous demo for a Silent Hill game, funny enough, the last attempted first-party Silent Hill game that was going to have Kojima and Miyazaki working on it in the most horrifying collaboration anyone has ever announced before the whole thing got canned.
Deepak, do you remember that this was Hideo Kojima was going to be the game side director of it, and Guillermo del Toro was going to come in to do...
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Vaguely,
sorry.
Yeah.
And this
Even
was
better.
Right. It was back in 2014 and people got so excited about it. This seems to sort of be like the spiritual successor to that actual game. But that trailer...
And then you may remember that right after that,
right,
Konami fired Kojima.
Right.
And so he had to make his own
Kojima's
studio.
house out of the door and said, "Don't let the door hit you." So he's been
and
setting
10
up
years
shop.
later, he feels like he has enough job security to be like, we're doing it again. 2-letter title, first-person horror game. Here we go.
So, but
It
yeah,
only took over a decade.
I saw some people saying OD could be Overdose, which I guess is the obvious one. The Knock, I do think, adds an interesting element to it. I just think it looks like a cool, spooky thing. I mean, obviously, we started off talking about how I was playing Silent Hill F. Like, I like the Silent Hill games. I would like that franchise to make like a earnest comeback. And I know that this isn't going to be obviously in that line of games because of everything you said about the Konami of it all, Jack. But like it just having a good, healthy, cerebral, like high tension, like not survival horror games as much as just like sort of horror cinematic games, you know, that's exciting to me. So I definitely want to keep tracking this one. I would love to play it when it comes out for sure. This is very far from what I was expecting anything at this press conference to look like.
We also got a short trailer for this game, which delightfully starts with a bit of text that says this building was, and then it's sort of censor barred out. So this building was censored from a 3D scan of an censored found in a censored. And then it says, then the censored were censored in a sinister ritual. And then we see the presumably house, and a woman walks up to a set of candles and lights one that looks like a baby's head, and it melts down and looks like blood. And then a bunch of creepy worms show up. And then we get a look at it. Again, presumably a real woman's 3D face that has been scanned into this video game to look as terrified as possible.
And it's
I'm sure it will be horrifying.
It's also being written by Jordan Peele.
Great. He even got the new horror guy.
Right.
He's on top.
He updated it, so he's like 10 years later, I need my new horror man.
So those are all of, I think, the big announcements. There is also the Niantic thing, which I don't know how to talk about.
Sure.
They announced their exact phrasing is a, quote, partnership with Niantic Spatial that will push the boundaries of what is possible in interactive storytelling.
With a new AR project called A New Dawn.
Yes. And then they show a bunch of weird,
I just wanted to put literally all the information we had out there.
Yeah, that's basically it. There's, again, a weird video of a bunch of people following, like, traces of light through real world spaces.
Sure does look weird. Don't know what it's going to be.
Niantic, for those who forgot about what happened 10 years ago, is the people who made Pokemon Go and who, as far as, like, valuable resources, has an enormous amount of data about real world interesting locations, mostly because of Pokemon Go now. So I don't know what this is, what sort of get up and walk around thing this is gonna be, but I don't know.
This is actually how we start doing the Death Stranding. Now this is how we all connect.
I mean, that's sort of what it looks like.
Yeah, very odd. Keep an eye on it. Hey, why didn't they do Pokemon Go to the polls though?
I don't know.
Just this question always breaks Jack's brain because he's always like, "That was a good idea. They should have done it." She said it so sarcastically. They should have done it. All right. Well, yeah, I love a madman just holding a press conference to be like, "Hey, it's been 10 years. Here's my new crock of shit." And
are you cutting me off right before I can mention the Death Stranding sake?
Pardon me. No, of course not. Wow, could I forget?
Well, there is also a Kojima Productions branded sake with some sake branded Japan that I don't know. That's it. I mean, that's just because that's the last thing.
Zerpop Bebop Robot News. Let's talk about this AI chick.
Yeah, so a company called Particle 6 is introducing an AI-generated quote-unquote actor it hopes can rival real-life human movie stars like Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson. This is according to a Vanity Fair article that came out a few days ago. The quote-unquote actor, and I'll just keep saying actor because that's the easiest thing to say, is named Tilly Norwood. She is British accented. She is a brunette. There is a sizzle reel of her in a variety of different sorts of movie-type environments and playing various roles, scared girl, princess, whatever.
My favorite roles.
She's in a recreation of that Sydney Sweeney jeans commercial that came out a few months ago and caused kind of a bit of a stir.
Which is ironic because she doesn't have good genes. For her, it's just a Nazi thing. It's not a double entendre when it's a robot.
I don't know. Did you see that she was holding? I don't know why. I hate that I know this, but she was holding hands with Scooter Braun of all people.
Oh, Sydney Sweeney was.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, the AI chick doing that. We're in Blade Runner territory. If that was the case, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. No, I didn't see that. Sorry. Tell me more about Miss Norwood's career.
This is what happens when you're between jobs. Yeah, her career has hit a bit of a snag. Obviously, the news of an AI actress not only seeking talent representation, but also taking meetings, quote unquote, with studios, set the industry a little bit in a tizzy. Not realizing exactly what this is or how it's going to work. The company has come back out after being, quote unquote, slammed by SAG-AFTRA, saying that Tilly Norwood is not an actor. It has no life experience to draw from, no emotion. It doesn't solve any problem. It creates the problem of using stolen performances to put actors out of work, jeopardizing livelihoods, and devaluing human artistry. So that's where we currently stand. The creator has responded to the backlash saying, quote, she is not a replacement for a human being. Where my confusion comes in is the studios are nothing but big corporations. Big corporations care only about the bottom line. It's cutting down overhead to maximize profits. Creating an entire effectively CGI person, is that not more effort and more expensive than just putting a camera in front of an attractive girl and shooting a scene the way we do with real people in these caveman days we live in right now?
It's a control thing, right? I mean, this isn't, I think, too surprising. Again, like you said, given the profit motives at hand, right? The ability to like click and drag an actor to do exactly what you want and like know you have it, right? This is the same reason. Fundamentally, it's the same anti-artistic instinct that makes a studio want a director to shoot a lot of coverage and very conventional, traditional
So we have
dialogue
options in the
shots.
editing room.
Yeah, right. So we have options when we get there, right? Don't just do one long take and just assume or hope that everybody's going to get it right, because if they don't, then we don't have anything to actually, you didn't shoot anything, right? That same like anti-artistic instinct is what makes them want an actor, quote unquote, that they can like, physically modify the performance out of after, like in post, right? That's what I think is appealing.
So Lionsgate, to that end, it also came out in the last couple of weeks, is having a very difficult time with AI. Lionsgate, a couple years ago,
I
got
have this
into a
article
partnership.
pulled up right now. I am thrilled that we're about to talk about this.
Yeah, they got into a partnership with the company, and maybe you can fill it in because I forget it off the top of my head, but it was effectively Lionsgate would release their entire library of content.
Yeah, so I have the
this
20
company
Yeah.
that would synthesize all of that in an effort to then let Lionsgate basically make whatever movie they wanted to make. And the Lionsgate CEO at some investor meeting or shareholder conference, whatever it was, basically said something to the effect of, hey, if you want a new John Wick movie that's in anime format, I can basically have that done in about 4 hours.
Yeah, that was the idea. Jack, the Wall Street Journal reported, this was back in 2024, that Lionsgate had contracted this company called Runway. That was a generative AI company that was going to build a model that will be, quote, customized to Lionsgate's proprietary portfolio, end quote, which includes such hit films as John Wick, Saw, The Hunger Games, etc. The aim was to help filmmakers and other creatives augment their work through the use of AI. The full thing said that Runway is a visionary, best-in-class partner who will help us utilize AI to develop cutting-edge, capital-efficient content creation opportunities. Several of our filmmakers are already excited about its potential applications to the pre-production and post-production process. We view AI as a great tool for augmenting, enhancing, and supplementing our current operation. Now, here's the problem that they ran into. The problem that they ran into is that it turns out that the Lionsgate, and Jack, you might have guessed this, the Lionsgate library of film is not big enough repository that is sufficient to be able to generate an animated Hunger Games movie, for example. It turns out neither is the library of Warner Brothers or the library of Disney or the library of Fox. There's just not enough stuff out there for them to be able to do this thing that they claim to be able to do, which I definitely wanted to talk about. But Deepak, I don't know if you had thoughts on it that were like closer hued to our AI lady.
Well, to me, what I understood that to be is obviously Lionsgate is a smaller player compared to those other studios, but a lot of those other studios for a long time, and you and I know this because we know the history of Hollywood, would really only focus on one thing. So Universal, you're getting predominantly monsters. Right. Disney, you're getting predominantly kids and animation. Warner Brothers, you're getting predominantly crime dramas, things like that. So the diversification of options within each of those silos is thin until maybe the last 40 or 50 years, right? So there I can understand where they're running up against that lack of content, but it is a little surprising to me that 7 to 10 major studios worth of content that has accumulated over the last century is not enough to, it doesn't have to be in 4 hours, but for the AI to come up with something, I found that to be a little surprising.
Yeah, well, I guess Jack, you understand how the thing works better than I do. But when I was reading sort of the description of the problem, they said that all of these companies right now were having trouble sort of integrating AI tech into their work that they were doing, just because it sounded like it was just there was a lack of information to be able to make it look realistic. Like we've sort of done.
That doesn't surprise me too much. I think, Deepak, you're right that's part of the issue. And then I also think that, there is not enough text that has yet been accrued to convincingly produce a script. And I think like a full finished film that is of high enough quality is a categorically harder problem.
Yeah.
So I think using a limited but unquestionably legal set of the IP that you own to try to make that happen is not going to work.
Right.
Well, even the Natasha
But it
Lyonne
might
thing
work
that she's
for-
working on is going to have a human-generated screenplay. So
Yeah,
I think
well,
they're
right.
aware
That's
of that problem.
because it might work for a single performance if you already have a script, for example. Like, that's an easier problem, although still not easy.
Right.
So
It's
I
way
could see
easier than
where
typing
the-
in John Wick, but make it anime.
Right.
Yeah,
Is
you
to
can
give
you
a
can
script
go.
to a thing that knows what face to make and then have it make that face doing that script. So I get
Yeah.
like the reasoning behind it, but I'm still not. I mean, I guess it's possible. Like, this Wikipedia article claims that she's been in stuff, in as much as people would have her in stuff.
Well, and surely Bruno has run her comedy video in this clip right now. Yeah, so I mean, she is doing acting, but like that's the thing, right? I think I don't understand any of this. I mean, I famously have this bit called Robot News that I do, but like I do understand the Tilly Norwood aspect of it more than I understand the runway entertainment aspect of it, right? Like, if I was Lionsgate and I wanted like anime John Wick sounds like a good idea. Go make anime John Wick. Like, you can probably do it for
Well,
like
and-
$20 million.
And to Deepak's point, they never include in it. I feel like we talked about this last week too. But like, whenever they talk about these models, they never talk about the upfront cost of actually producing the model. They talk about the cost of running it once it's done.
Right.
Because in theory, if you get it right, it's supposed to pay for itself eventually. But the upfront cost of making these things is not insignificant.
No, nor is like the usage. I mean, again, even if they do talk about the usage costs, we don't talk about like the trade-offs or the things that get used or consumed. You know, there's a whole side of engineering that our like society has not really gone into at all, which is like more energy efficient engineering, right? Like, we are so obsessed with information based development that we have things like large language models that will like drain a lake because we don't have efficient energy to like power those things, right? I feel like we sort of need the system to calibrate itself a little bit. I kind of wonder if by the time that we have like safe, reliable nuclear power that we can like, you know, rely on for massive amounts of energy draws at the drop of a hat, will we then also have enough information to be able to say like anime John Wick go, right? And then we can produce it safely and reliably without taking a drag on other resources and without having to perjure yourself or whatever. I don't know. We'll see.
But we, again, sort of closing thought, remember that whatever version of the technology that exists today is the worst that it's
This is the worst
going
it's ever going to be.
moving
Yeah,
forward.
right.
Eventually, we have 4 John Wick movies that are all directed or co-directed by the same individual, so they're very consistent on an aesthetic and content level. Your mileage may vary on that's a good thing. There's also the new one with Ana de Armas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lionsgate also owns Ghost in the Shell,
Mm-hmm.
the U.S., not just the remake, but the original, right? So they have some anime there that eventually you'll be able to take 5 John Wick related movies and Ghost in the Shell, put that into the algorithm or whatever that is, and it will actually do what they want it to do.
It doesn't. Yeah, it seems like the idea is one that they are going to pursue until they figure it out one way or the other. Right. I don't see it going away. But I also don't honestly believe that it would be very good if I could watch it. Like, I mean, this was the other thing I was going to point out sort of as a next story thing, but it also relates to this. Like, hey, Lionsgate, if what you really want is an action intense, highly choreographed, animated film that will draw adults to it because of its cool violence, you should fund Genndy Tartakovsky's The Black Knight, a thing that he leaked the test animation from this week because nobody will give him money to make this thing. I bet funding Genndy Tartakovsky...
What a power move.
It's what
If
Reynolds
nobody's
did for
giving you the
Deadpool.
funding and you're like, no, this is so cool. Everybody look at this.
No, but you haven't listened. Watch. Well, he didn't help himself by making that horny dog movie that no one liked on Netflix. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing, is I'm sure making The Black Knight will cost less than developing an algorithm that can make you a John Wick movie. Right? And, you know, it's just weird priorities.
So obviously the first fully AI generated movie will be advertised as such because that will be
Well, we just talked
the
about it
main
last
draw.
week.
But at what point do they give us an AI generated movie where you
don't even know
ahead of time? Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
that
is that the ultimate Turing test, like reverse Turing test, to give us a fully AI generated movie and have us think it was made by humans?
yes. I think at the point that you are not questioning the production of art, right? That like that is
Well, yeah, it'll certainly be after the idea of an AI generated movie.
What's
is
the
normal.
over under on how long that takes? 6.5 years?
I mean, it's crazy how far all this stuff has come, even in the amount of time we've had
Yeah,
access
it's
to
hard to say.
That's
Right.
why I initially I was gonna say, does that
unimaginable
happen in our
for
lifetime? And I was like, yeah, it will.
I was telling somebody a story the other day about how Jack and I in 2013 had a like robot crawling Tinder, like scraping dating profiles, trying to basically be able to just recreate a dating profile. And we were like, how insane would that be if we could like,
It was more recently than that, but yeah.
oh, it wasn't that much more recently than that, but even so, right? It could have been a couple of years after that. Even if it was 10 years ago, when we were doing it, it seemed so outlandish to be able to like get a computer to mock up that sort of human verifiable text. And now we do it all the time. Like this stuff is moving insanely quickly. And I do sort of, have the Jurassic Park reaction to it of, I don't know that we're stopping to think whether or not we should, right? Like, I don't know that the Tilly Norwoods of the world are all that interesting and I don't know that they're contributing all that much to society. Like, I don't know that I'm going to get so indignant about it the way people do, but
as always, the mistakes have to be made so that we can learn from them.
Yeah. And that's totally possible, right? And maybe they stick her in some movies and either it rocks and that's the future, or it doesn't and it goes away. And, as with all things, but I just never understand why these are where the priorities on it are, why this is where we're starting or whatever.
I will say, just looking at not so much the video, but at least the photos, if I didn't know she was AI, I would not be able to tell.
I think the motion is more...
Motion probably gives it away, yeah.
All right, as we prepare to wind down, we have a couple of other stories we wanted to tackle here. Or did we? Is that it? Did we do the news?
I think it was just like a whole 45-minute roundup, yeah.
I wanted to talk to you guys about the Wolverine game. Have you guys seen the footage from the new Wolverine game?
I've seen images,
I have.
not footage.
I think it looks cool. Jack, it felt like Batman fighty to me.
Definitely.
I was curious from a company that has done so much Spider-Man stuff. Like, there definitely felt like there were some fighting controls and things like that I hadn't seen. But I was shocked by how great I thought it looked. I was excited for it.
What is the...
It's developed by Insomniac, I believe.
Yeah, so it should be early next year. And it's going to be the same company that's done those recent Spider-Man games.
So I'd imagine it feels similar to that, although I still haven't gotten to that.
And the ad was him wearing a costume, like all the costumes. And
yeah, he's got the yellow costume.
And he's in
different... Yellow and brown.
He's in the snow, he's in the desert, he's in wherever else. Yellow and blue.
Oh, the Wikipedia cover art has the yellow and brown.
Oh, maybe that is what it is then.
I mean, I'm sure you can change the suit.
But
Don't get me wrong.
I was excited about it. It seemed fun.
What is the...
Absolutely, yeah. That was a part of the State of Play announcements.
Did they mention what the the premise of the game is?
It's still pretty early, so I think I don't think that much is known. When I go to the State of Play video, I don't even think it had an official description.
Yeah, it doesn't have it on the wiki. Other than that, apparently Mystique and Omega Red will make appearances.
It says, become a living weapon. As he searches for answers about his past, Wolverine will do what it takes, unleashing brutal claw combat, violent rage, and relentless determination to cut through the mystery of the man he used to be. From Insomniac Games, the developers of the critically acclaimed Marvel Spider-Man franchise, comes Marvel's Wolverine, an all-new take on an iconic character based on Marvel comics.
And Spyro.
And Spyro the Dragon.
I don't know why they didn't bring that part up. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the sort of modern beat-em-up style of game that was really popularized by the Batman games and does weirdly well in the superhero genre. But, I don't know. I don't know if I saw anything that, really wowed me about it or that looked particularly unique. I do think Wolverine is a good fit for it, what with the regeneration and the claws and etc. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful that they can sort of be more innovative in the combat and maybe even rely on the success of the Ghost of Yotai and Ghost of now
Tsushima?
Tsushima. Look at that! I one sequel. I've already forgotten my beloved origins. But sort of give us like samurai combat in this with the claws would even be cool. So
That'd be
I
fun.
just think there's opportunities for dynamic gameplay. It came out. It looked cool. I wanted to make sure we mentioned it. I didn't have a ton to say about it. I thought it would just be a fun
Well,
little stinger for the end.
Microsoft keeps handing Sony all these wins.
Right. After what with their more expensive Game Pass and they're not selling in Costco's and such, this is all because the cost went up with the tariffs.
Well, the
right?
Costco thing is, I believe. Well, I mean, at least Costco announced it right after the price hike was announced, so it seems like it's related. But yeah, they raised the prices for the second time in a year to increase all of their physical console prices. By now, basically all of them are about $100 more expensive than they were 12 months ago. And then they also announced that Game Pass is sort of fundamentally changing. Maybe not fundamentally, but a lot of the tiers of Game Pass are being shuffled around. There's now 3 instead of 4, and they offer you different stuff. And most notably, the Ultimate Game Pass bundle is going from $20 a month to $30 a month, which is a 50% increase.
Yeah, that might change.
Not insignificant.
Might change my future relationship to Game Pass Ultimate. I've had it for.
I mean, we've been talking about how criminal the Game Pass deal is for literally years now. In a mild bit of defense, I don't know. I also see it feels a lot harder to justify having it like rolling when there's no games on there you actually want to play, especially when you can't just cancel and resubscribe.
I still think I will keep the console one. The Ultimate one gives me access to console and PC, and I don't play too many on the PC anyway. I sort of just have it for if I want it.
That is true.
And that's 30 feels...
Let me pull up this diagram. They're also adding the Ubisoft games, I think, to the Ultimate Bundle.
I'll tell you what they're not adding is the EA games.
No.
Because those now...
Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Those now belong to Jared Kushner and the Saudi Crown Prince.
Yeah, the future of EA is the end seems sort of up in the air, which I think is most notable. I mean, Deepak, you brought up Madden as your EA touch point, which is fair, but I think a lot of people are worried about The Sims.
Yeah.
In particular.
So there is a huge like culture of people playing like Let's Play Sims online and stuff like that. Lots of people doing different Sims challenges. I was curious, like, would that take a huge hit? You know, I've seen so many like comedians talking about this Riyadh festival. There was a negative backlash to Brady playing flag football over there. Like there does seem to be sort of an anti-Saudi thing happening right now. And I do wonder if you would see, especially, you know, kids have been so active, especially with some other, you know, issues in the Middle East. And so I'd be curious if like that generation just said, you know what, we're done playing Sims and just walked away from it. I could believe it.
Well, and when EA stopped really developing SimCity, or made SimCity terrible, is maybe a better way to put it. We did like a beautiful, like a natural ecosystem. We found City Skylines came up to sort of fill in the niche, and then also get terrible in its equalization. So, who knows what Sims replacement will come to take up the gaping hole left by Sims 5's absence, or whatever it ends up looking like. EA was not exactly a saint of video game development before.
No.
So it's hard to imagine them getting much worse, but I guess we'll see.
We'll find out. And until then, we'll be here to report on it, because we're not going to get, you know, booted by any cable conglomerate or whatever. Or who knows? Maybe one day we will. Maybe they'll find a way to do that.
Maybe Jared Kushner will buy us for $55 billion.
That would be a weird turn of events.
That'd be especially weird. I guess we're probably not as valuable as EA, but like maybe $1 billion.
We might be 1/55th as valuable.
I think that's fair.
All right. Shall we hit some pop culture recommendations before we get out of here?
Yeah.
I have started my Halloween rewatch. And this year, I'm doing a very particular set of movies. I have a list of 12 films that I have pre-selected. I'm going to be going through all of them. fellas, I am happy to announce that I am doing the Universal Monsters Shared Universe. So that is going to be Dracula, Dracula's daughter, son of Dracula, and then House of Dracula. It is Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, House of Frankenstein, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and then Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. And in all of those, the Wolfman, Dracula, and Frankenstein are all bopping around into each other's movies and running into each other and meeting each other up and stuff. So I started with the 4K re-release of the 1930s Bela Lugosi Dracula. Came to my house yesterday. I threw in the disc. I watched it. It looked great. I was really impressed with the 4K transfer. Haven't done Spanish yet, Deepak. I know you were curious. Haven't got Spanish Dracula on there yet, but I will be. I'll also be doing the Philip Glass score, which they have in 4K on there. There's a bunch of really cool versions, so I'll be getting to all of them very soon.
Ooh.
Oh, look at this. Jiminy crickets.
Yeah, he told me. I remember when he said he got this. He was like, I'm giving it another shot.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
But I see it is still sealed, so you know.
No, it's just in the protective.
That's just he just has those. Those are
I see.
aftermarket. Yeah.
He has card sleeves for his
Precisely.
DVD boxes.
Precisely.
Sorry.
No.
Was there more to your thoughts?
That was all. I'm watching those monster movies.
Great. That sounds like your sort of jam.
What have you been getting up to, Jack?
I mentioned it before. It would be disingenuous of me to recommend anything other than Hades 2. It's been taking up all of my time, but it's been real fun.
How does it compare to the first one?
I think it builds on it in some interesting ways. I do think it's very similar, but it offers you more choices in interesting ways. Like one of the most obvious ones is that there's 2 routes you can go through that go through different areas with different enemies and stuff. So at the start of each night, you can choose which one you want to go on. One of them's a little harder, and there's different rewards and stuff. So I also think it adds more to like the base building. It's maybe not the right term for it, but I don't know. I think it takes basically everything in the first game and sort of iterates on it in an interesting way.
Cool.
It might be a little overwhelming if it's your first experience, but especially coming from the first game, I think it works well.
Deepak?
I binge watched Black Rabbit in about a day. It's the new Netflix miniseries with Jason Bateman, Jude Law, appearances by some other familiar faces periodically, including Troy Kotsur, who won Best Supporting Actor for Coda a few years ago. It kind of has some middling reviews, which I was surprised by because I thought it was very tense and well done and not the greatest thing you'll ever watch, but certainly does more than enough to hold your interest for 7 or 8 episodes. Gets very, very tense and dark and twisted and violent at times, but sometimes that's all part of a balanced diet. So Black Rabbit on Netflix I thought was pretty good.
Excellent. This has been Nerd Here Weekly. Thank you so much for watching. We want to remind you, especially if you have made it to the end of this episode, to subscribe to our show at NIHF.com. We can't announce anything officially now, but we have some very cool, exciting changes coming to the website, and you're not going to want to miss them. So head to NIHF.com so you can keep up with everything and follow us on social media at Nerd Here First, especially on Instagram and TikTok. You're going to want to have those all locked in. So, yeah, let's do them again real quick. YouTube.com/NerdHereFirst, NIHF.com. Type your email in at NerdHereFirst on TikTok and Instagram. Till then, we'll say thank you to Bruno Meneses for producing this episode. He couldn't be with us tonight, but it's because he's getting all his new stuff settled in California. So we're thinking about him out there on the Best Coast as in his travels. Also, thank you to Purple Planet for our music. Thank you to Wiki Rascals for our artwork. And thank you to you for all you do to help keep this show going. If you enjoy what we do, we hope you'll let somebody else know about it. And we hope that you will come back next week to hear